Welcome to Massive Passive Cash Flow, the podcast that guides professionals to financial prosperity. Join our community and let's start building your wealth. Here's your host, Gary Wilson.
Hello and welcome to this week's version of Real Estate Investing for Professional Men and Women. Professionals, business owners, that's who we are. And welcome aboard if this is your first one. In fact, if this is your first one and you like what you hear, go ahead and subscribe. It's on Stitcher, iTunes, iHeartRadio, a number of different channels. Downloaded it now in about 50 some odd countries and thousands of downloads every single month. So also, if you decide you want to be part of this group, it's easy to do. Just go to realestatewithgarywilson.com, click on members area, okay? On the next page, you'll see two choices. Left is people who already are a member, and right is people who are not a member, and you want to just check it out. Doesn't cost a dime. Just check it out. You get access to all kinds of information, tools, links, strategies, reports, just a gobs of stuff. So do that. And in the meantime, let's get back here to the podcast. I got a pretty awesome guest here today, Travis Smith, in the world of money and capital, all that stuff we need to not just survive but thrive in our businesses and our real estate holdings. So without further ado, Travis, welcome aboard, man.
Gary, thanks for having me. So glad to be here.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you taking your valuable time to do this. I know there's crazy times we're in, and I know folks like you are probably getting your phones ringing off the hook here. But if you wouldn't mind, I'm going to let you kind of describe to people who you are and what you do, and maybe how you got there. Give us some good, juicy details on paint the picture of Travis, and then we'll get into some case studies and strategies. How about that?
Awesome. Sounds terrific. Yeah, I couldn't be more pleased to be here. I'm the founder and CEO of Tribevest, and we're a collaboration platform. We are a operating system, and we are a banking platform built for investor groups. So we help you assemble your tribe. We help you align your tribe and agree on the rules of the game going forward. We help you formalize. We help you pull capital in a manageable, easy way, and ultimately open up a business bank account, an LLC in any of the 50 states, so that you can achieve more together and harness and leverage the power of what is the tribe. And just couldn't be more pleased to be here. You mentioned the times. It was the last financial crisis that the Tribevest concept was really born. My brothers and I were on a fishing trip, quite frankly, one that we couldn't afford. And we recognized from the financial crisis that things were changing. My uncle, who we looked up to greatly, had an awesome job, worked for HP, was traveling the world. We kind of always aspired to kind of follow in his footsteps. And after the financial crisis, found himself laid off and unemployable at the age of 55. Wow. And that scared the heck out of my brothers and I.
Yeah.
So we on this fishing trip, we said, listen, we always saw real estate as a way to hack wealth without having to give up our day jobs. But we were fresh to market, not right out of school, but we were making good money, but didn't have lump sums of money. And that was the big learning. We kind of realized that all these deals we wanted to do required capital. And it's the biggest barrier of entry for all of us. So finally, over a few beers on that fishing trip, we had our breakthrough. We said, listen, let's quit talking about the deal and let's solve the problem in front of us, and that's lack of capital. And we ultimately agreed to a manageable and monthly contribution of $500 each. Mm-hmm. And that was it. It was a stretch for us at the time, but it was manageable. And between the four of us, that was $2,000 a month, $24,000 a year. And within 12 months, we had our first property. We leveraged that, found the beauty of what is real estate, the tax benefits, the appreciation, the ability to leverage it, the cash flow. We turned that into another deal. We kept our manageable monthly payments coming and kind of capital in perpetuity. And one deal turned into another, turned into another. And finally, we looked back and we said, listen, by forming and funding that investor group, that tribe, we unlocked a future we could have never dreamed of. And that was when people started to notice, and they said, how are you investing in these types of deals? Wait a minute, I have a tribe. We have shared financial goals. Can you help us form our tribe? And that's when it hit us. We said, listen, there is a void in this market, and could we help them? What would we do differently? And we would have done a lot of things differently. And ultimately, all those things that were miserable about forming an investor group, we've streamlined, automated, cut out a lot of the stuff you don't need, and built a platform built for people coming together so they can do more. They can do more together.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what's interesting is, I'm part of a couple different mastermind groups, and for people who have never heard that term, you probably all heard the term by now. One of the benefits is you're networking with like-minded people who are ambitious and want to go from where they are now to where they want to be. And one of the best ways to do that is, through education, gathering information, taking action, and also really hanging around people who are where you want to be, and you're forming a tribe. And one of the things I teach personally in my own training programs is I teach the investors, but also I teach the agents, real estate agents, how to work with the investors. And one of the techniques is forming a local investor community around yourself, not a typical investor club. Okay, this is sort of unique. We form communities of like-minded people, typically professionals and business owners, and so it's like a niche within the group. And the agents serve them. The agents are trained how to serve them. So we now have thousands of agents all over the U.S. and Canada that can help us investors, right? They know what they're doing because we teach them. And so this is an awesome way for them to further that community of the benefits of forming that community is just to encourage people to band together and show them how to do this. And I can see them using your platform to do that. So if we could, maybe let's take a list. So as far as what you're doing, like maybe give a case study if you have one, or maybe take an example of an investor or agent, real estate agent, who's being trained to be a certified investor agent, is what we call them. And I'm teaching them how to form their group. Like what would be the first thing to do, or maybe the key sequence of steps to follow, something like that,
Absolutely. Yeah, you touched on so many things there. It's funny, Gary, the Gary Wilson podcast wasn't there 12 years ago. So finding that tribe, was a lot harder back then. And we needed to band together with our immediate network, in this case, my brothers. And but now, people say, where are we going to find our tribe? Well, it's those people that you're hanging out with, and you're learning and you're growing with. And that was such a big also motivator. We wanted to build wealth, but we also wanted to learn and grow together. And I think that's what you're talking about in that community. And for a case study, we have we work with a ton of real estate agents. We kind of have the real estate agents that are real estate agents first and real estate investors second. And this, for those that are real estate investor or real estate agents first, maybe working with real estate investors, this is an incredible tool to introduce to their real estate investors as a way to help them pull capital. And those real estate investors, they love this because they can do more faster. So instead of getting into one deal, they can pull together with others and get into 3 deals or 4 deals. Yeah. And then there's the real estate investor, real estate agent investor first. And what an awesome way to assemble, to help train and educate others, bringing them into this shared dashboard where you're making decisions and you're pulling capital. And so just an incredible way to start your real estate investor business, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Now, what would be some of the particulars? Like, so let's say I'm in, I'm going to date time stamp this podcast with the example I'm going to give. But right now, all over U.S. and Canada, we're being asked to exercise social distancing and not have groups of 10 or more. So we're doing a lot of what we're doing online. But aside from that, let's say I've got my own group, and I've actually done this before. In fact, way back before the big recession, Travis, I was already doing this. And I didn't have a platform like you developed. It just came out almost accidentally. I'm building this group of investors around myself, and they, the room volition, said, well, we want to get together instead of each of us buying a little rental or a little duplex. We want to buy a 10-unit building. And I'm like, well, that's awesome, because I'm thinking, well, gee, now because I was a broker at that point too. I was an investor and an agent or broker, and I realized, well, I'm going to get bigger commissions now. But back to the question, what are some of the technicalities like is there contracts they should be writing up? I know you mentioned forming an LLC. So LLC means you probably have an operating agreement. Like, what are some of the things you would suggest so everybody has a safe environment to work in, where there's protection? Like in other words, you think ahead of time of the eventualities that could happen. Somebody drops out, somebody moves, they transfer jobs, all these things happen in life, and what does that mean to the group? So do you have like samples of contracts that you would suggest people use, or operating agreements? I mean, maybe touch on that if you don't mind, some of the technical stuff,
Absolutely. You hit on a number of things there.
Yeah.
First off, you nailed it. We didn't invent this, right? Like we've been surviving and thriving as tribes since the beginning of time. And of course, like when you look at most real estate investors, they figured out a way to pull together to do more. We're just really making it 10 times easier to do so. Yeah. We feel like we're really broadening that market. People that have always wanted to but didn't know where to start. Now you have that place to start. And I think that's one of the things that our platform does is you think about anytime the leader, the initiator of a group, the burden that's on them to recruit and sell and, position. And then when people say they're in, they've got to kind of do all the check boxes and make sure they're covering all the bases. And one of the things we do is we really empower that initiator to and take the load off, become a neutral third party. Yeah. For people to say, hey, this isn't Travis's tribe, this is our tribe. And there's a platform out there to do that. And so it really fosters trust, accountability, transparency. And then you mentioned, the contracts or agreements. We do have templates and examples in there. We don't offer, attorney advice, or we're not a law office at all. But we do have resources to connect you to those things. But what we do focus on is the process. When my brothers and I kind of said, hey, what would we have done differently? Well, one of them was upfront qualifying that we were aligned. Did we have the same vision? Did we have the same mission? Were we interested in the same types of investments? Were we comfortable with the same types of investments and risk tolerance? And our platform gives you the ability to come in, build a vision for your group. You share it out to your prospective partners. They come in, you collaborate on that, and you actually do an alignment and qualify. Hey, are we doing this? And then the next step is, and we always say, more important than the rules are the rules up front.
Yeah.
So doing the how much, how long, then what if, before you move forward, right? And that was the big mistake my brothers and I made. We didn't want to talk about the what ifs. We didn't want to kind of figure out then what's. And it's awkward and uncomfortable. And most of the time, these are people that you just kind of say, hey, I trust these people. That's why I'm here with them. But it's so critical that you go through that step of formalizing it, voting on it. And that ultimately becomes the foundation. Those how much, how long, then what, and what ifs become the foundation of your operating agreement. Now, are you going to be just an LLC where you're all owners and you're deciding where to put your capital, really simple operating agreement and really clean and simple. Are you building a syndicate and pulling in more investors? Okay, that's a little more complicated. You should probably go out and work with an attorney to put that together. But again, that qualifying and we really feel like we're minimizing challenges in the future, taking that emotion out of everything in the future, mitigating it with data, transparency, and pre-qualifying.
Yeah, I tell you what, that's such valuable information. I'll give you a quick story here. Two of my oldest clients, I'm not age-wise, but I've known them for years. Years ago when they first got started, they were best friends. They said, we're brothers. We're like brothers, okay, Jeff and Adam. And I said, you got a couple properties. You need to form an LLC now. Okay, let's do it the proper way. Came to the operating agreement, and I said, you've got to think through all the most common eventualities in life. One of you is going to get married, maybe both of you. You're going to have children. One of you might get divorced, unfortunately. You might lose a job, change a job, move away. All of these life events that happen, you need to document ahead of time what you're going to do with your joint ventures or your LLC and the properties should those eventualities happen. Document it ahead of time now. And they looked at me and said, man, we love each other. We'd never have a problem with those things. I'm like, that's why you do the operating agreement, because you love each other. Don't not do it because you love each other. Do it because you do love each other. Because in a time of, let's say something bad happens, a time of crisis, and you're reacting in haste and really in crisis mode, your brain's going to function differently then than it will now when everything's good and everything's calm and stable. So come up with these decisions ahead of time, and it's one of the best, and that's the advice I received from my grandfather, by the way, years ago. And he said, you do it because you love the person. Yeah. And that made all the difference in the world. So that what you just said there, critical, because at the end of, I'm 57 years old. I'll hopefully be around another 40 or 50 years, Lord willing. But the more I age, the more the relationships become important to me and my experiences in life. And looking back, I don't regret, ever spending time with family. I do think back, my gosh, I wish I didn't work so hard. But also to tell you this, life is short, and you don't want to go through life with a bunch of regrets. So value the relationships and put them first. The relationships put them first. You can always make more money, okay? But you harm a friendship, it's hard to overcome that, So then again, sorry to preach here, but that was some of the best advice I think I've ever heard anybody say, Travis. So thanks.
Really appreciate you sharing that, and it really aligns well with our beliefs and values. And we get, we're so excited and passionate about building wealth and getting a deal in real estate, and that should be fun and passionate and everything else. But it's really hard to remember what's more valuable than any piece of property.
Yeah.
That relationship.
Yeah.
And we always say, we are a relationship first platform. And we help you keep that focus, saying, hey, all this other stuff is cool and fun and should be, but by being on the Tribevest platform, we're always going to remind you that, hey, make sure you're taking care of your relationships out of love, right? Not out of I want to make sure you don't burn me or I don't burn you and all those. It's like, no, we want to put this in place because of the relationship that we value our relationship so much. Beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, now as far as timing goes, so you guys, what's funny is you started this back in the last recession, and I love the whole principle behind that, which is in every adversity there's opportunity. And so what I'm telling people right now is, turn off the TV because it's all bad news, and it's a lot of it's true, obviously, right? It's true what's going on, but it's not helping you take action and get results. So the really successful people, and usually it's people that have been through these recessions, this is my fifth one, by the way, is right away we start asking questions. Well, who can I serve and how can I serve them? Okay. And if you want to feel better yourself, go make somebody else feel better, lift them up, give them something valuable, free information, free websites, free analysis sheets, give them anything you can do to give them, serve that relationship. Because if you're going to get a transaction, it's going to be because of that behavior, not because you basically circle the wagons and shut out the rest of the world. That people who say, well, I'm going to clamp down and then I'll wait and see, are going to lose. But the people that say, you know what, I'm going to take action now. And I can't tell you're going to get a transaction today or tomorrow or the next day, but I can tell you this. You're more likely to get one, number one. And number two is you're positioning yourself for the person that helps people during this time. And when things start freeing up again, which will probably be in 30, 60, 90 days, we believe, you're going to be the one that they remember. So the thing is when these things happen, don't let yourself get defeated. Fear is the number one enemy in the human spirit. Okay, so the remedy is have faith and take action. So doing what you're doing, form a group around you of other people who are like you. They might be struggling too if you're struggling, but get together and don't commiserate. Ask, what can we do? Don't say we can't do this. Whenever you find yourself saying something like, I can't do this and I can't do that, you should train your brain to automatically come up with minimum one, if not three questions. Well, what can I do? How can I do this? Things like that's the attitude. So when you guys got together, you basically bucked the trend. Recessions they're not fun, but you can choose how you participate in it. Okay, and you guys chose to take action and move forward. And look at you now. Here you are. 10 years later. So relative to timing, are there different strategies within the framework of forming a tribe that work better now than they would in an upmarket? Or, I'm just trying to get a feel for, like, I know for me personally, I have strategies I'm using now that I wouldn't have used even 3 months ago, right? But 3 months ago, strategies I wouldn't use now. So any along those lines, anything you can think of strategically relative to what we're going through,
Absolutely. Yes. I think no truer words becomes opportunity. And, and I loved when you said you need to train your brain, because that's so true. Getting the right mindset, mindset is the biggest indicator of someone's future, no doubt about it. And so can you train your brain that this is an opportunity? And you'll probably be encouraged by this, Gary, because we have some unique insights because of just how many people are downloading and registering on our platform over the last few weeks.
Yeah.
But, there's this mass consciousness that's happening out there. I think, number one, people are, wanting to connect with the people they care about most. And we're finding new ways to do that in lieu of being able to go give a hug and a handshake and, get together and have, break bread and fellowship and things like that. We're missing that. So thank goodness for the technology we have that we can connect in other ways virtually. And so I think people are thinking about, how do I do more things with people I like and trust and care about? So that's spawned a lot of action on our website. And then, being able to take a step. People are thinking, I want to rethink my financial future. Mm-hmm. I want to rethink my financial future. I do not want to be a slave to my paycheck. I'm worried about my job. I don't want to be dependent on my 401k and Wall Street. And that's what's going through people's mind. And that was what went through my brothers and I's mind, during the last Great Recession. And so Tribevest, one of our coolest features and innovative features, is this idea of taking a step. Can we start to do a couple $100 a month? Can we start to do $1,000 a month? And by doing that, you cement your future. You are, if you take those steps, for us, when it was $500 a month for between four of us, we cemented that we were going to have $24,000 in capital in 12 months.
Yeah.
It was done. It was a done deal because we agreed to it and we set up it in an automatic way. And then leading up to that, we started to meet people like you and other people that were doing this and starting to learn how to, and building a repertoire so that by the time we did have enough capital for a down payment, we could, when opportunity knocked, we had capital to answer the door.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, the most successful, so we can never determine who's going to be successful through these things, but in rearview mirror, we can always tell you for certain the people that succeeded are the ones that took action, right? They're prepared. So really successful people see and seize the opportunity. They somehow or other summon the courage to get past the fear and take action. But I want to touch on something. You mentioned your platform a couple of times. So tell us about the platform. Like what's the name of it? How can people find it? What's the first thing they should do if they want to reach out to you? Because what you're doing, for people who are listening, is just check this out. The best inventions and creations in the world were just simply people like Travis and his brothers and friends who got there to realize, you know what, we need to formulate this, create a structure and create a template so that we have a model to follow. You know, those are the best things. You're taking what's already out there. You're not really creating anything. Everything we need is already in creation. You just put it together. So tell us about that platform, if you don't mind, Jeff, and kind of enlighten us on that part of your business.
You bet. No, you're spot on. Again, we didn't invent the power of the tribe. We didn't invent people coming together to pull capital to invest in more things. But there's never been a platform out there that's built for that. And I like to say we're a collaboration and an alignment platform that happens to be in group investors, investor space for real estate. And what the platform does, and the idea was started 12 years ago as we formed our own tribe and kind of realized the benefits of it and how it really did change our lives and our futures. And again, people started asking us 3 years ago, wow, can you help us do this? And then we realized that we're in the age of this, golden age of entrepreneurism, and that it's easier than ever to build a technology. I come from a FinTech background, so I had all the banking lined up. A couple of our investors were with some of the LegalZoom and other companies like that. And we put together a platform where you can go to tribevest.com, register, build your tribe vision. You can invite your prospective tribe members onto the platform, go through an alignment process, qualify. We're just as proud of the tribes that go on to do great things as the tribes that don't do anything because they kind of realized it wasn't a good match. And then, really the bones of that, once you've assembled and you're ready to go, you can file your LLC all online in all 50 states. You can start to form the rules of your operating agreement. Even before you open up a business bank account or file your LLC, we've made it so simple that you can start to pull capital in parallel. So even before you commingle your funds for a transaction, we give you a dashboard, Gary, where you're putting in $500 a month, I'm putting in $500 a month, Sue's putting in $500 a month, Mandy's putting in $500 a month. And on that dashboard, we see each of us continuing to contribute that capital, but we haven't even formalized anything. Could I pull that money out? Sure, it's mine. But we've agreed that, hey, let's build this to a point. Now let's form our LLC. Now let's open up a business bank account, all online, by the way. And now we're in business. So
awesome.
Yeah, anybody can download it. It's a national platform. We're growing like crazy, and things are really taking off. And we think a lot of that has to do with the times of the day.
Oh yeah. Well, people are looking for what can they do? What actions can they take? What are the answers? What are the solutions? So if you want, just do a recap on the technical details. Email, phone number, website. If you have a podcast too, you do different ways for people to reach out to you. Facebook page, things like that. If you want to do the rundown on that, that would be awesome.
Yep, absolutely. It's tribevest.com. We're also putting together a landing page for your audience.
Okay.
So we'll have that maybe in the notes here. We also have Facebook at Tribevest. We have Twitter at Tribevest. And you can reach out to us at contact@tribevest.com. Hit our website, fill out one of our forms, or just register and go around and play around in our platform and even start to build a vision for your tribe.
Cool. Well, I appreciate it. I tell you what, I think I speak for a lot of people when I say thanks for taking your time to do this. I'm gonna push this up. We've got inventory podcasts out in the September, but I'm gonna make this one. Tell them we want to get this out there definitely sooner than later. And for everybody listening, take care of yourselves. God bless. Remember, to just turn off the TV, have faith, take action. Because remember this, guys, GDP, based on what we're seeing, is going to be dropping about 25%, which is pretty dramatic. But what that means is 75% is still intact. Transportation, medical, I'm right across the street right now. I'm literally watching 26 houses being built, actively being worked on, okay? So the world isn't dead, right? So it's still moving along. You just got to ask yourself what is working and tap into that. So have faith, take action. We'll see you on next week's podcast. And Travis, once again, I think I speak for a lot of people, and I say thank you for sharing your valuable time and expertise with us.
Thanks for doing what you do, Gary, and just so valuable to us and so many people out there. And you're right, this too shall pass. And thanks for having me on. Really enjoyed it, Gary.
You're welcome. Remember, guys, go to realestatewithgarywilson.com, click on members area. If you're already a member, obviously go to the left. If you're not, you go to the right and try it out. Subscribe to the podcast for real estate investing for professional men and women, and take Travis up on his offer. It's a pretty generous offer, and I think you're going to be crazy if you don't do it. How about that? Especially in these times. Okay, take care and God bless.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Massive Passive Cash Flow. Be sure to go to realestatewithgarywilson.com to join our community and start building wealth today.